While the first season of House of the Dragon has mostly gone over really well with audiences, there's one aspect of it that's been quite controversial. We are, of course, talking about the time jumps. For some viewers, these have been pretty jarring. And now, George R.R. Martin has given his opinion on the matter. So, in today's video, we're going to talk about exactly that. Let's get into it. First off, the time jumps were necessary. When the Game of Thrones prequel was first announced, many fans were pretty skeptical, and it's not hard to see why. The parent show went out with the most resounding whimper in TV history, and it looked like people just weren't interested in this world anymore. Another problem was that many believed that the Targaryens just weren't all that interesting. Plus, we already know what happened to them, so really, this seemed like a mindless money grab. But we're happy to say that this show has been a breath of fresh air. Every single episode has been of extremely high quality, and the series has been executing the super ambitious task of chronicling the Targaryen Civil War to perfection. And because they're telling such a huge story, they have had to jump forward in time often. The second episode took place 6 months after the first one. Then there was a 3-year time jump in episode 3, a huge 10-year one in episode 6, and finally a 6-year leap in episode 8. Due to this, 2 of the most important characters, Alicent and Rhaenyra, were recast along with their children. Despite its triumphant run so far, some viewers have understandably been kind of frustrated by the many changes the show has undergone already. They claim that it's been kind of difficult to get attached to the characters, and this has meant that they have just not been as immersed as they'd like to be. But the man who came up with this fascinating world believes that they were handled perfectly. Next up, Martin is loving the show. On his website, the acclaimed fantasy writer gave some of his thoughts on the show. George expressed that showrunner, Brian Condal, has handled these jumps very well. He said that he loves both the younger Alicent and Rhaenyra, as well as the adult versions. He called the cast incredible and revealed that he adores all of them. So do we, George. So do we. And you have to commend the casting directors for their ingenious choices. It's uncanny how much Millie Alcock looks like Emma Darcy. Seriously, are they the same person? And similarly, Olivia Cooke is perfect as the grown-up version of Emily Carey. If they had messed up the casting, these skips would have been a much bigger problem. But fortunately, that just hasn't been the case. The transitions have been pretty seamless, and judging by the reactions on social media, it's obvious that fans are super invested in this saga. Following this, there are only so many minutes in an episode. Martin wrote that he wishes that they had more time to explore the relationship between Rhaenyra and Sir Arwen, Daemon and Laena's marriage, the birth of the many children, and everything else they had to skip. But of course, there are only so many minutes in an episode, and only so many episodes in a season. He said that if the show had 13 episodes per season, they could have shown all the things they had to skip, but that would have risked some viewers complaining that the series was just too slow and that nothing happened. And we see where he's coming from. If you ask us, the pacing of the show has been absolutely perfect. Yes, there are some things that we would have liked to see more of, but all in all, none of it seems rushed. The prioritizing of one single narrative thread has meant that the show has stayed extremely focused so far. There are no pointless storylines or transitional episodes. Simply put, this season has been all thrills, no frills. Also, all the characters are very well fleshed out, and their motivations are clear. The entire season was obviously intended as a setup for the epic war between the Targaryens, and they've pulled it off perfectly. Cause come on, every single one of us is rooting for Daemon and Rhaenyra already, and we're all crossing our fingers for the downfall of the Hightowers. Coming up, Martin believes that it's going to take 4 full seasons to tell this story. Martin also expressed that he's thrilled that they have 10 hours every season to tell their tale, and that he hopes this will continue to be true. And then, he gave us the big news. He said that it's going to take 4 full seasons of 10 episodes each to do justice to the Dance of the Dragons. And honestly, we can't wait to see everything the writers have planned for us next. This war is going to be exhilarating, stressful, and heartbreaking, yes, but exhilarating. Plus, it's really refreshing to see how heavily involved Martin seems to be in the series. One of the biggest reasons Thrones failed so badly was that he wasn't really around for most of the later seasons, and D.B. Weiss were in charge of pretty much everything, and safe to say, they weren't fully qualified for the task. Yes, we know that George told them how he planned to end the story, but at the end of the day, it's all about execution, and boy, did they fail miserably. Seriously, Bran the Broken, the Starbucks cup, is Tyrion helping Cersei and Jaime get back together? What was going on? This time around, things are different. George is taking a more hands-on approach, and this means that there's a lesser chance of the showrunners messing up. Up next, Martin all praise for Paddy Considine. We can all agree that one of the very best things about House of the Dragon has been Paddy Considine's take on King Viserys, right? He spent much of his first season trying to fix all the family feuds, but sadly, failing to do so at every point. His relationship with his daughter, Rhaenyra, has been the real heart of the show. It's been wonderful to see how much he loves her and how he sticks up for her at every point. In the latest episode, he finally succumbs to his illness after one last family gathering, but before his death, he unwittingly issued some very important parting words to his wife, words that will go on to have devastating repercussions for the future of the Targaryens. And Paddy's depiction of Viserys was so amazing that it even wowed George R. Martin. He said that Sunday's episode was everything he had hoped it should be. He praised the scriptwriter, the director, and the incredible cast, and finally shouted out Considine for his portrayal of the character. He expressed that this version of the character was so much more powerful, tragic, and fully fleshed than his own version in Fire and Blood, that he's half tempted to go back, rip up those chapters, and rewrite the whole history of the reign. George added that Paddy deserves an Emmy for this episode alone, and if he doesn't get one, there's no justice. And he's completely spot on. Considine delivered an acting masterclass. And if anyone on TV deserves to get recognized this year, it's him. Moving on, the Iron Throne is empty. The death of the king is perhaps the most pivotal moment in the journey of House of the Dragon so far, because as you may know, Viserys' passing served as the catalyst for the Targaryen civil war. While Rhaenyra definitely has a very solid claim to the Iron Throne, Alicent's ever-growing ambition and determination may push her to challenge the queen's position, especially when you consider her final conversation with her late husband. Now, obviously, the show could also stray away from the source material, which means that the Iron Throne is completely up for grabs right now. Finally, Rhaenyra might be in a bit of trouble. Without the support of her father, Rhaenyra's position in the court is much weaker. Yes, she's the rightful heir, and she's literally married to our beloved Prince Daemon, but the doubts regarding her children's parentage are going to cause her a lot of trouble. Also, as Rhaenys says at the very beginning of the show, men would sooner put the realm to the torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne. It'll be super interesting to see who they support now, and as ineffective as he may have been at times, Viserys was still a calming presence. Now that he's gone, the family may descend into full-blown chaos. There's no one left to mediate Team Black and Team Green, and given the bad blood between them, it's very unlikely that they'll settle any disputes peacefully. In short, the most eventful and explosive episodes of the show are yet to come. So as we go into the final 2 episodes of this final season, get ready for a lot more scheming, murder, fire, and blood. Let the dance begin. That's a wrap for this video. How do you feel about the many time jumps in House of the Dragon? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Goodbye for now, and see you in the next one.